Come on, buddy. Come on, Chris. We actually going now. 5.
In 5, 4, 3.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Karen Kendra Holmes Show. My name is Karen Kendra Holmes, and I go by pronouns of she, her, and hers. And this is
Chris Wilson, Within the Community TV. Hey guys, thank you for having me today.
all right. Glad to have you here to talk about today, and I hope we can have a good conversation going back and forth. But first, I want to let you all know our topics, whatever we talk about, we want you to call in. So if you agree in what we're talking about today, call in on 240.
455-0096. I think that's
it.
Call line for
So
us.
actually, it's only going to be one line from what I was just now told by the producers. Actually, one of my posses. But I really want to thank the producer for having us show here. We are at the new location for the fireplace chat. So they set up a nice little area here, and we got our own little fireplace here in Oxon Hill, Maryland.
Okay.
So, hopefully nobody's wavering away from what's going on, but yeah, we want you to enjoy, to know that we are very comfortable in what we're doing so far.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about being here today. I think that's a wonderful opportunity. I can't feel the heat from the fireplace.
That we got the heat turned off. The only reason is because of the fact it was putting out some heat earlier when we were testing it out.
Yeah, I was wondering, because when I came in, I taken my jacket off, and then I guess I put it back on and didn't realize. But I was wondering what the change was, but I think I have to get one of these.
And they do heat up pretty good. So I've got one actually back at my place, which is where the fireplace chat started off at. And so now we have one here. So yeah, that's nice. I want to talk about a little bit of my day-to-day. My day at first started off at the put on by the Women's Veterans United Committee Incorporated and CTLD Group Incorporated. For suicide is a national crisis, and that's what that was all about today. Very good speakers, guest speakers. We had a lot of guest speakers as well. And it just was a great conversation here about all the things that they're trying to change as far as helping veterans regarding suicide. And it's really, really tough. I mean, the location today was down at the Veterans of Foreign Wars down in Washington, D.C. And they talked about mental health. They talked about mental health of our veterans. We support those not to quit, to be able to constantly be involved. Reduce veteran suicide was another thing that they talked about. Create veterans wealth, health care situation. Child care was a very important issue that came up for active veterans as well as veterans once they come out. The other thing was loneliness, was about talking to those veterans who come home and don't have anybody to talk to. Another one was mental health first aid. I'm very adequate in regards to first aid, medical first aid, as far as coming back from any kind of disaster or response, and in this case for the veterans coming home, to be able to talk to them about first aid for their mind. And so that came up as well. For veterans, we want them to be able to also talk about their story to another veteran, because that'll open them up as far as, what's going on in their life, and hopefully they'll get somebody, a mentor, a peer person that they can constantly talk to. So that's another big thing. A safe place.
Absolutely.
For them as well.
I think that's really important, Karen, that you mentioned that is when the veterans are returning into society and, that they are offered these type of services where they're able to, properly matriculate back into the society as, they had entered it before. I know that there's a lot of times that there's so much trauma and so many events that they experience. I really, I'm not a veteran, so I can't say, and I wouldn't, far as to say what I know they deal with, but I took my hat to the cause and to what they do on a day-to-day basis, and I just really think that should be something that's so important, so that they're properly supported when they do
Okay.
from serving our country.
Let's see, we got a caller that's just calling in right now. Caller, you're calling into the Karen Kendra Home Show. How can we help you? And then my name is Karen. Hello? There they are. Are you there? Oh, they hung up. So, anyway, back to, it's a lot of preparation that goes into, even for a service person, when they sign that paperwork to say, hey, I'm going to join, we need to be able to start let them be prepared on what they're going to be going into,
Absolutely.
the kind of basic training they're going to go through, everything through that whole lifespan, from start to when they exit out. That's what we need to help them with.
Absolutely, Karen.
We need to help them
Absolutely,
with.
Karen.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Yeah, because I do a lot of disaster response, and to me, doing that, we get a lot of preparation as well before we go to that disaster. I know a lot of disaster work with Red Cross, and doing that, each and every fire that I went to was a different experience.
Wow.
Everything from dealing with the victims that lost everything that they had to going to flood or tornado situations, it was all different, and that was very, very hard, and I had to learn that.
Wow.
And when I went on my first fire, I couldn't get to sleep the rest of the night. When I went to my first disaster down in Joplin, Missouri for the tornado victims, for a whole month, it took me a month to get rid of the cough I was having, which I wasn't experiencing, but it was just that. And then I had to always want to keep talking about my experience to people that, hoping to listen to what I had to say because I needed to get it out. That's where the cycle, because we're able to be able to voice it out and tell people about our experience.
Gotcha.
So, other things that I wanted to talk about real quick. I had some questions that came up last week by email.
Okay.
So I wanted to talk about some of those things in regards to my life as a trans person. And so we answered quite a few questions last week Friday. Wasn't here at the studio here, but it was at my home with the fireplace chat there. But I wanted to get to a couple of more of the stories, and maybe you can interject as well.
I'd be more than happy to read and share some of the stories with you as well.
Well, great. One situation came around, and so that question came to me: do you have a love of your life? And honestly, I have to say no at this point. I thought, might possibly happen. And I know after my transition for 5 years, I actually put myself on hold where I didn't want to date anybody because I really wanted to concentrate on myself with this new life of being who I truly am for 40 years of wandering. And actually now on my business card it says 40 years of wandering no more. That's what I also did my TED Talk on as well. And so after my big surgery in 2016, I said, now I'm ready to start dating. And nobody's been there, for me. And the thing is, I don't know if it's because of, me being so busy, traveling and speaking around the country, but I always figure it's like this. If I meet somebody, there's things I can cut out of my life to be able to let them know I'm also there to share my life with them. How about you?
Wow. Well, right now, I think as far as my personal life, I'm not in a relationship. It's just really me and my daughter.
Okay.
And we spend a lot of time together. I think, like you said, that kind of resonated with me. I've just really been focusing on myself, wanting to heal and, take an opportunity and do something different than what I used to do. I was one of those guys that I would, go from one relationship to the next. I would get over the last person with the new person. So, so I just wanted to do something different this time around and take the opportunity to heal you know, be alone and really get to know myself and what I wanted and what I wanted out of life, and, you know, find success and to be
Right.
happy, you know, and if I can be happy with myself in a situation or in a position to invite someone else into my life and, you know, share that happiness.
And that's how I felt, you know, I wanted to be able at this point share what I have in my life, to be able to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I want to share it with somebody, you know.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, like, hey, that relaxing time, to be able to say, hey,
Yeah, who
let's
wouldn't?
watch
I
a
know,
movie tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I look forward, you know, that was one of the things that I look forward to, you know, in my past relationships is, you know, that time, that camaraderie, that, you know, intimate time together, whether it's movies or going out or, you know, really just, you know, being together alone at home together,
Mhm.
you know, having someone, you know, times that I was sick, you know, and knowing that if I needed something, there was someone there. There
Right.
was someone there to care for me and who cared and who wanted to be there, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I miss
it's
those
tough.
times.
We're like 6 years old, so I feel like I'm getting over the hill right now at this point to be able to get in a relationship. The other one was, when did you first fall in love? Wow. I mean, for me, it goes back many moons ago. I mean, I was like, been married twice. I was getting ready to get married for a third. Twice. I was getting ready to get married for a third time, and that one, the third time, was really, really big for me. I mean, it was bigger than probably my first and second, you know, just because of the person. But it only lasted a couple of years. Actually, after our first year, she called it off, and a month later, she's like, she couldn't live without me, and then we got back together. It lasted another year, and so that's when I said to myself, I'm definitely gonna start looking out for me, and bringing the person that's deep down inside finally come out. And that was my issue there. And after that was over, the second time, well, actually it was the first time. The first time I crashed and burned. I mean, literally, I was a basket case for a month. And my boss back then, God rest her soul, she passed away. I mean, you know, she would say, I don't ever want to see you like this again over a relationship, you know, because, you know. And so when we got back together, I reserved for myself, instead of giving 100% of my heart, I only gave her 90% of it, because I wanted to reserve that 10% for me, because for some odd reason, if it happened again, I knew that if it happened again, I knew that I was going to be okay and I could get through it. And I did, without any problem. How about you?
Well, first time I fell in love, you know, I really don't think I've ever been in love. I have to be honest. You know, there were times I thought I was in love and times that I thought, you know, but I'm not sure I really know what love is. You know? And the love that I did think I knew I wanted, I'm not so sure that's love. I mean, I do believe what the Bible says, that love is patient, love is kind, you know, love holds no record, you know, right and wrong, and, you know, it's not jealous, it doesn't boast, it's, you know, I believe in that type of love, and I haven't had that
And
type
all of them
love.
broken, right?
Yeah, so, you know, I've had some that without the other, and I think, you know, that there's, you know, Sierra, it was something, you know, the singer Sierra said that, subtle, if you can't have all of the components, then, you know, I don't want pieces of it.
Right.
You know.
I felt the same way, and actually, I guess probably a year ago, I just said, you know, Lord, if there's, you will provide. And they will have to just go along with the journey that I'm on, you know, to say, hey, they want to be a part of my life and stuff like that, and not look for second best, or, you know, somebody who can't accept, or, you know, somebody who can't accept the fact that, you know, I am trans. And that's very important. That's what I also try to tell a lot of the trans women out there, you know, when they're out there dating or meeting people, to be upfront and honest with them, to say, hey, this is who I am, you know, give that person on the other side an opportunity to say, yes, I want to be with you, no, you know, I don't want to be with you, and that's okay. So, I haven't really had that situation, but, it's ready to be able to be told, especially because of the reason why I emphasize that on relationships and being upfront is because in the transgender community and non-binary, there's been so many murders, and down in Florida, they're trying to keep the trans community down. And so what we're trying to do is really pick it up, and it's just constantly, a battle. And they had, like, in their area down in Florida, really high numbers. And last year in the transgender community, we had 71 murders last year for the Transgender Day of Remembrance. So it was really big.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today, Karen. It looks like my agent says I'm out of time for today, but it was a pleasure having an opportunity to sit here on the Karen Kendra Holmes Show. Guys, be sure to tune in and check Karen out at www.kkkhomes.com, and she's over 700,000 views strong. So, thank you, your platform and just having me today,
Hey, you will. Just have the faith. I mean, I never thought I was gonna.
Outreach program where we are looking to raise over $100,000 for awareness, for outreach, intervention, working with the youth, and for our veterans. So we just want to say, please come out, check us out, check out our website, take an opportunity to see what our program is about, what we do, what we offer, the services that we offer for the veterans and for everyone in the community, and for those who have interest in the film, music, production, and radio industry. We are here, we're here to serve, and we're here for you to be a voice. And we just appreciate you, and I thank you so much for having me, Karen. It was so much of a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Well, glad you came, Chris. You're a big voice out there, and I'm glad you brought up about, the veterans. I mean, we can't forget about the people that gave their lives for us and our freedom to go fight for that.
Absolutely.
And, for them to come home and they're homeless, or the situation of being suicidal, it's crazy.
Wow.
So we need to reach out to them and
Let's
help
do all
them.
we can do for our veterans. I think it's so important for the people who serve and protect our country, for us to serve and protect them, and to ensure that their rights are protected, and to make sure that they can return to the country that they fought so hard to protect and to serve for, that they're, provided with the same, in essence, when they return home. I think it's such a shame when you see a veteran who is homeless.
Yeah.
After fighting and serving and risking their life to serve their country, it should be a crime.
Well, we also want to, talk about, and back to, the issues of what we were talking about today, trans lives matter, rights, and everything.
Absolutely.
They have the right to be able to be who they are and not be able to be out, about who they are. The sad part about it, which I try to tell every time I go speak, is to non-trans people, is the fact that we transition to be happy. We want to be happy just like everybody else. But because of the way society treats the trans community, we end up losing our spouse, our family, our children, our homes, our jobs, and it is just so bad. And that's what's going on down in Florida. They want to take away that in Maryland. I ended up getting my name changed probably in 2 months, which is really unheard of.
Wow.
Social Security card being changed. Also, situations with driver's license, passport, it just all went boom, 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 and it brings me back to even you bring up the conversation about God. I always tell people, God's going to answer things in 3 ways: yes, no, and just wait. I'm working on something, and that's exactly how it's been for me in my life. Voting rights are very, very important to people out there. We gotta really start getting out there and start to vote for these officials who are trying to make crazy laws, really, against the LGBT community. And I don't know what else to say except to register and go out and vote. Check out who's running and what's their agenda, so that way you can make a serious, educated talk.
And most important, hold them accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Don't let them make political promises and campaign promises and then they don't keep them and they don't follow through. We want people who represent us to serve us in our political platforms, whether it be Democrat, Republican. I think being a honest and a loyal citizen and a member of whatever the cabinet you serve, you know, bipartisan, whomever, you know, I think that should be standard, you know, being honest and being someone who's, you know, wanting to fight for our rights and to protect us and not, you know, exploit us and,
Right.
you know, profit off of us and to gain, you know, I think it's so important that we, you know, hold our politicians accountable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you brought up, you know, upholding and keeping them accountable. I remember when a certain president, you know, was elected, and I was actually down there for the Women's March the next day, you know, and stuff. And actually, one of my signs that I carried and had holding up said, "I've seen better cabinets at IKEA," and everybody just loved that sign, and they wanted to take pictures with me and everything because, you know, it was true. We saw what came out of that whole election there.
Well, you're a star, Karen. I thank you so much for having me. I'm go to break. Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to talk about veterans that are in the LGBT community, their mentorship, their health care, and stuff like that. So stay tuned. We're going to be bringing you more live here from the Karen Kendra Holmes Show here on the Fireplace Chat. And I just want to say again to my posse, I thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. The producer's doing a great job doing things, and in the community TV, We the Veterans TV show, we're doing some great things. So, all right, so that was Chris Wilson, who was here with us, talking to us and stuff, sharing some of the questions that I had as far as, you know, love. And I want to go into another question that was asked to me: what lessons have you learned from your relationships? And I'm like, wow, that was a good question there. As far as my relationships, you know, I'm constantly learning over and over again. What is it going to take to have a relationship that you can share with others and just be happy and know that you have somebody that you can care for or they can care for you? So relationships are very important, but I try to make sure that I stay positive on my relationships as far as not only with love, but also with family. Family is very, very important. Family is very, very important as well. And we're trying to see, you know, just how things can work between you're taking care of your family. I know for me, you've heard me talk about it. Talking to, you know, taking care of my family, my mom, my dad. At one point for my dog, you know, who decided to walk at all now. Diamond, sometimes she's running. And everybody was saying at the vets, she needed surgery. Both knees to be replaced. And I'm like, are you serious? Both knees? But you know what? It ended up being okay, and we're doing well. Legacy was another question that was asked. Who has been kindest to you in your life? And wow, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say her name. Her name is Sandy Epinata. Really, really awesome. And she has been like now my sister, and so we are just really, really happy to have her in my life. She is, you know, we started off as friends, and now we're like, or vice versa. And I'll get to my other question afterward, but I do have another guest. And you are here again on the Karen Kendra Holmes Show, and we are live here at the Fireplace Chat at our new location, and this is
Jeff. I'm the
this
Jeff. I'm the host of We Are Veterans TV.
all right.
It's an honor to be on your show.
We're glad you're here, Jeff. Glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a veteran. I'm from this area. It's been kind of difficult since I've been home. I left for like 20 years. I enjoy hosting. It's given me not just an opportunity, but some insight on how to better help people. And even with that, it's helping me fix broken areas in my own life. I mean, by help, I'm learning how to help myself.
What branch of service did you serve in?
I was in the Marines, and I didn't, I kind of quit the last week. But I served in Iraq. I was with the Army.
Okay, all right. We won't get into why you quit the Marines, but how long did you serve in the Army?
I would say I was 15 years.
For 15 years?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was a rocky road. I was in the DC National Guard, so, and you know how things were is expensive, so I was kind of like a problem soldier.
Did you have any issues as far as what we talked about earlier was possibly suicide or anything like that?
To be honest, I've tried to kill myself 1,000 times, and I mean, recently I was having ideas of walking in front of a dump truck. It never came.
You said recently? How
Yeah.
recently?
Last month.
Wow.
I mean, but
What can we do to help you get a situation in that frame of mind? Is there somebody that we can refer you to as far as getting help or talking?
It's not like that. I
Okay.
mean, for me, it's like ideation. It's sometimes your mind can make you believe things that that's not true. I mean, and from that experience, I realized that patience. Right now, I'm working on a 100-day positive affirmations. No matter what I think positive. And from this current situation I'm in, I have given my best opportunity to make change. I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I'm dealing with it and taking responsibility. I'm accepting it, and I'm making fun out of it. You know, because I know, given my current opportunities, that is inspiring me to challenge myself with no fear attitude. That wealth and all that important, but it is to enjoy life. I know I feel more comfortable knowing that a lot of success is on its way.
Great. Well, stay positive because, you know, it's very, very important to think positive, to be positive, to know that you are empowered and you have unlimited power for yourself, you know?
Well, I would say a lot of my hurt come from, you know, is that being an African American, and I'm sure, like what your message is, that it is hard out here for people, especially when you don't have a supportive family, when you don't have, especially when you don't have a lot of